So up to this lecture we have seen the what are the conditions for the operators, okay, acceptable operators. So the conditions are that it should be like linear, okay, so operator should be linear, and the second condition is that the operator must be Hermitian operator, okay, and the condition for linear operator is that the addition of that two functions operated by operator A should give the addition of separate operation on each function, and if we multiply by certain constant, so it should also satisfy this condition, okay. So these two conditions should be satisfied for the Hermitian operator and linear operator, okay. And there we have solved some example. So the question might be asked in such a way that explain the terms linear operator and Hermitian operator, or explain how the operator can be acceptable one or not, okay. Now next point is the eigenfunctions and the eigenvalues, okay. Next point is the eigenfunctions and eigenvalues. So how will you define that eigenfunction and eigenvalues, okay. So suppose I am having certain wave function psi which is operated by operator A, okay. So my wave function is psi which is operated by operator A, okay. So if I am getting same function again, means suppose I am operated function, okay. Okay, first we will understand the definition, okay. So my operator capital A operating on wave function psi, I am again getting the same wave function multiplied by certain constant, okay. So if I am getting certain constant there, so my function which remains constant, okay, before operation and after operation also I am getting the same same function. So such type of functions are called as eigenfunctions, and the value which is a constant value, okay, so it is a number, so value which is obtained is called as a eigenvalues, okay. So consider for example, if we consider the d2 upon dx square, this operator operating on, say, suppose function sine, say, 3x, okay, sine 3x. So what is the derivative of this second order derivative for sine 3x? So it will be again, first order will be cos 3x into 3. So this is the first order derivative, and the second order derivative will be what? So it will be 9 minus 9 sine 3x, okay. So this will be the second order derivative. So here we can see that the operator is a cap, wave function psi is sine 3x. So here also I am getting sine 3x, and the value which is constant which is minus 9, okay. So here I can say that the wave function sine 3x is again repeated here, okay, sine 3x, and the constant is multiplied which is a minus 9. So we can simply say that the operator d2 upon dx square, that is double differential operator, is a eigen operator, okay, and this function is a eigen function of a operator, this with eigenvalue minus 9, okay. So this function is eigen function of this operator and eigenvalue is minus 9, okay. So there are the certain conditions, like certain theorems are there which we can prove easily, like the psi I, which is the complex conjugate of the given function, okay, complex conjugate of the given function, then the above equation can also be written as this, okay. So operator operating on psi will also operate same manner on the this psi star, okay, the complex conjugate of given wave function. So we can say that these two conditions for the Hermitian operators are, if we consider the two different wave function, that is psi and psi star. So the condition for Hermitian operator is that first function, then operator A operating on second function, it should be equals to integration of second function into operator operating on the first function, okay, operator operating on the first function. So if we solve this, okay, so since the given functions, that is psi and psi star, are the eigen function of the operator A, we can simply say that this capital A cap of psi star is nothing but psi into, here it should be A star, okay? Here it should be A star, and here it is AI, means for here we get the AI into psi star of J, okay? So here we get, here it should be star, okay? Correction is there, star is there. So we can say that this A star into psi star psi j day tau is equals to again this, okay? But we know that for the normalized function we have one condition, integration of psi star psi d tau is equals to what? Is equals to 1. For normalized wave function we get this condition, okay? So this simplifies as, so this will simplifies the equation as, okay, this, that is A star is equals to A, okay? And the two number which will have the complex conjugate equals to its real number only when the this number is a real number, okay? So here we can say that the eigenvalues of Hermitian operator are real in nature, okay? So suppose my number is say 5, then the complex conjugate of 5 is also 5 only, okay, real number. And we can, from this proof, we can say that the eigenvalues of given eigenfunctions are real in nature, okay? So this is the one proof. Now second proof is that here we can show that if the eigenfunctions of a Hermitian operator have the different eigenvalues, then these two functions are orthogonal to each other. Means what we need to prove that, so for orthogonality the equation should be what? Psi I into psi j, it should be equals to 0, okay? Integrated over some volume element d tau, it should be equals to 0. So this is what we need to show. So how will you prove that? So first consider the two wave equations, say psi 1 and psi 2. So these two wave functions having the, say, eigenvalues a1 and a2, okay? So a cap is, let a cap is the again Hermitian operator. So by the definition of eigenfunctions and eigenvalue, we can say that operator A operating on psi 1 gives the a1 into again same function because it is a eigenfunction of operator A cap, and psi 2 is again eigenfunction of operator A. So we can say that equation 2 is also satisfied, okay? So now consider the complex conjugate of equation 2. So we get the A cap of psi 2 star, which is equals to what? A2 into psi 2 star, okay? A2 into psi 2 star. So upon multiplying the above equation, say by constant psi 2 star, okay, complex conjugate of okay, psi 2 star, and for equation 2 by psi 1, and again integrating over the volume element d tau, we get what? So we get psi 2 star into A cap of psi 1 d tau, which is equals to psi 2 star into A, that is small a, that is eigenvalue, into psi 1 into d tau, okay? So we like subtracting these two equations, this and this equation. So upon subtracting that two equation, we get this, okay? The simplification step. So once we have subtracted that equation, we can simply say that, okay, common equations get cancelled out, okay? And finally we get the, okay, finally we get this equation, okay? So this is what? Psi 2 star A cap psi 1 minus psi 1 into A cap of psi 2 star d tau. So this equation is satisfied only when this a1 minus a2 into psi 1 into psi 2 star d tau is equals to 0. So above equation is satisfied only when this a2 minus a1 is equals to 0, or these two wave functions are, if we integrate that, it should be equals to 0. Since we have considered the two different wave functions, okay, since we have considered the two different wave functions psi 1 and psi 2, the eigenvalues for the each functions are real and it will be different, okay? say suppose we have considered like psi1 as a sine 3x and psi2 as suppose cos 3x, and since it is the eigenfunctions, so the that constant, it might be same or may not be same, okay, but that either one of these conditions should be satisfied, okay, either one of these conditions should be satisfied. So if we consider this condition has been satisfied, that is means a1 is equals to a2, then this condition will not be satisfied, that is psi1 into psi2 star is not equals to 0. But since we have considered the two different function, means this condition has to be satisfied and not this one, okay. So integration of psi1 into psi2 star d tau should be equals to 0. That is, we can simply say that the eigenfunctions of Hermitian operator having the different values are orthogonal to each other, okay. So previously when we assume the two functions, like here in assumption we can simply, we have assumed this another one thing, that the psi1 and psi2 are the two different eigenfunctions with eigenvalues a1 and a2 respectively, okay. So here also we have, like initially only we have assumed that the two wave functions are different and their eigenvalues are also different, okay. So due to this we can have only one of that condition true, okay. And since a1 minus a2 is equals to 0, which means that a1 is equals to a2, but in assumption we have say that these two values are different, okay. So this condition will not be satisfied, only this condition will be satisfied, and this is the condition of our orthogonality, okay, orthogonality. So up to here we have seen the various that okay, up to here we have seen the various operations that carried out on the operator, and what are the various conditions, that is linear and the Hermitian nature of the operators, and we have proved that the eigenvalues of a Hermitian operator are real, and also we have seen that the Hermitian operator having the two different wave functions with two different values of eigenvalues are orthogonal to each other, okay. So we have seen that two proofs also, okay, two proofs also. Now we will try to see the various operators or for the various dynamic variables that we generally observe in the classical mechanics, okay. So what is the operators for the quantum mechanics, okay, that we are going to see. So first is the position operator, okay, position operator. So for classical mechanics the position operator is nothing but we can represent the position by x, okay. Suppose we are considering the position of one particle along the 1D, okay, one dimensional. So we will simply say that it is one dimensional means what, along x axis only. If we are considering two dimensional, we will consider x and y axis, and if we consider three dimensional, we should also consider the z axis, okay. So for position we will only consider the one axis, that is x axis. So the operator for the coordination of a position along the x axis is simply the multiplication by x, okay. So only change for the classical and quantum mechanics is that if we apply the, suppose any wave function is given and if we want to have the position coordinate for that function, so by for converting that classical function into the quantum mechanical function, we need to simply multiply it by the x for obtaining the position coordinate, okay, position coordinate. Now next is the linear momentum, okay, linear momentum. So how will you represent linear momentum in the our classical mechanics? So momentum is what, p is nothing but mass into velocity, okay, p is nothing but mass into velocity. So this is the linear momentum which we generally represent into the classical mechanics, okay. So we will see how we can represent this momentum into the quantum mechanics, okay, quantum mechanics. So consider the kinetic energy, potential energy and the total energies which can be derived from the coordinates of momentum and the position. So for an electron the wave function like this is the wave function for the uh, electron. Okay, electron. So the wave function for the electron is the, we have considered the a into some normalized constant that we need to find out again, into e raised to, okay, this is the simple, okay, simple wave equation, harmonic, some simple harmonic wave equation. So if we solve this equation, or we differentiate this equation with respect to x, we get the, so derivative of constant is constant only, so we are taking it as constant, and derivative of e raised to x is nothing but e raised to x as it is into derivative of whole these things. Okay, so it will be plus or minus 2 pi I divided by lambda. So we will use the, so we can say that this wave function is the eigen function with eigenvalue plus or minus 2 pi I upon lambda, and one de Broglie's hypothesis was given. Okay, so where wavelength, that is for particle and wave nature, we have incorporated this into the single equation, that is lambda is equals to h upon p. P is nothing but what? Momentum. Okay, so for lambda we can substitute the value for lambda in this equation. So simply we get, d psi upon dx plus or minus 2 pi I px, that is momentum along x axis only we are considering, divided by h into psi, where px, we have rearranged this equation. So simply we get px into psi is equals to plus or minus h upon 2 pi I into d psi upon dx. Okay, d psi upon dx. So since this psi is the function which can be removed, okay, because we can simply say that this p is the operator. Okay, so here we see that, okay, p is the operator operating on certain wave function. Again we are getting the same wave function. Okay, same wave function. So simply we can say that this operator px can equals to the, directly to the this value. Okay, so this x should be in the here, okay, subscript. So p cap of x means momentum along x axis can be represented as a minus, okay, h upon 2 pi dabba by dabba x. Okay, so this differentiation is also called as partial derivative. Okay, so the position is represented simply by x, and momentum is represented by this formula, okay, in quantum mechanics. Now next is the angular momentum. So angular momentum is nothing but L, which is r cross p. Okay, in classical mechanics we represented it by the r cross p, and if we consider the three axes, that is along x, y and z axis, we need to consider it is a vector quantity, so we need to consider again that unit vectors, that is I, j and k vectors. So by using that I, j and k vectors, we can calculate the values of our that position and momentum, that is linear momentum, in order to find the angular momentum. Okay, so angular momentum is the cross product of position and linear momentum. So this angular momentum is nothing but the cross product of, okay, here it should be cross product. So that cross product, we obtain the values for the cross product as, okay, this. Okay, where this constant Lx, Ly and Lz are representing the three components of angular momentum along x, y and z axis. Okay, now next is the total energy operator. Okay, total energy operator, which is also called as a Hamiltonian operator. Okay, so there is a one condition, that is Hermitian operator. Okay, Hermitian operator is the condition for the given operator, and Hamiltonian operator is nothing but what? The operator corresponding to the total energy. Okay, and which is generally represented by the capital H cap. So in most of the that reference book you will find this simply capital H cap, which represents what? Hamiltonian operator, which corresponds to the total energy of given system. So the Hamiltonian operator which is corresponds to the total energy of given system, which is represented by symbol, this symbol. Okay, The total energy of single particle is nothing but what? It's kinetic energy and potential energy. And kinetic energy in classical mechanics, the kinetic energy is generally represented by half mv square, or we can simply rearrange this equation as the in the momentum form, that h is equals to p square upon 2m plus potential energy will remain as it is. Okay, so for along x-axis we can say that the momentum square is nothing but, so we have to multiply these two equations. So by if we multiply that, we get simply minus h square upon 4 pi square into diabat square upon dx square. Okay, we need to take this second order differential again. So along y-axis also we get the same, only the differential will change along x, y and z axis. So finally we can say that the total energy operator, that is h cap, is equals to, okay, p square upon 2m. Okay, the value of p square we have obtained here, divided by 2m will remain as it is, plus potential energy also will remain as it is, that is minus h cross square upon, okay, minus h square upon 4 pi square. So simply we have taken this common term from all these three equation and we get finally this equation. Okay, so finally we get this equation, which is this minus h square will remain as it is, minus h square divided by this 2 into 4, which is 8 pi square into m into this, okay, diabar terms. So partial derivative terms are there, plus, okay, v, x, y and z. So momentum, not momentum, it's potential energy along 3 axis. Here we need to consider the potential energy along 3 axis. Okay, so this potential energy should be along 3 axis, this potential energy. Okay, so we can simply say that the total energy of a given system is given by this Hamiltonian operator, which is nothing but minus h square upon 8 pi square m grad square. Okay, this grad square is nothing but what? The derivative, this grad square is nothing but the derivative along x, y and z axis. Okay, so this grad square is sometimes called as a gradient function. Okay, this grad square is nothing but the gradient function. So gradient function is nothing but the differential, partial differentiation along x, y and z axis. Okay, so for potential energy it should be again x, y and z axis. So if we consider the three-dimensional space, then we have to consider x, y and z axis. Okay, so we have seen the various operator that generally used in the quantum mechanical system, that is for position, for momentum, that is again momentum is of two types, linear momentum and angular momentum, and lastly we have seen the operator for the total energy. Okay, total energy. So these are the operators. So next point is that how will you operate these operators, quantum mechanical operators, onto our system, and how will you obtain the various parameters that will be required for our simplification of our problems. Okay, so that we can see in the next lecture.